Hello and good day, participants. We take up from the last discussion which we had on reading comprehension meanings. In this video, you are discussing with me reading comprehension strategies, which again I repeat is a part of Module 3, Reading the Text and Reading Comprehension, Part 1. So as usual, let us go back and recapitulate some old concepts which would be related to how do we make meaning best out of reading. And then I remind you participants, we had talked about the ideas of reading comprehension, the meaning of reading comprehension, meaning, thinking, selecting ideas, determining meaning, relating them to your previous knowledge. What I'm doing now is exactly that I am trying to navigate you through your previous knowledge of reading comprehension meaning and then slowly guiding you to reading comprehension strategies. And ultimately, you see, as we had discussed, relate them to one's learning objectives. And again, to remind you gently that reading comprehension has 9 aspects: a knowledge of words, the meaning in context, ability to follow, organization of a passage, main idea, answer specific questions, paraphrase, draw inferences, recognize literary devices, and comprehend the author's message. I'm not going to elaborate, participants, because we have done this in the last discussion. Let us move on. So, in this particular discussion, what are we trying to know? We are trying to know as to how or what kind of strategies or ways or methods can we apply to make our meaning of reading a text optimum or maximum also, you can say. Now you see, sometimes nowadays reading a text has become simply knowing the meanings, knowing the pronunciation, phonic drill, and picking out some you can say grammatical aspects, from the text. So what happens is that we do not understand the text as a whole. But the text is a whole. It has a semantic possibility. That would mean it has a whole meaning in itself, which can give you an immense satisfaction if you understand. So how do you strategize beyond, isolated skills, right? Isolated meaning making or isolated pronunciation making or understanding. So what you got to do is that you need to have a very, very personal response. Whatever you read, say even a newspaper report, like say that, everywhere there is a depletion of the water resources down below in the ground. Please do not take it at the face value. Of course, whatever is written in newspapers, or probably in research, unless it's a very good research article, there is no need for you to understand that this is to be taken entirely. The news report can actually be questioned, be thought about. So take it personally. Is it that everywhere water is depleting? Yes, it's a crisis. Yes, it's a crisis over the world. It's a crisis of the earth. But, find out, take it personally, understand the concept, and, look it at the local level. Do birds come to your window to drink water during the heat of summer? That means a water body might be drying up in your neighborhood. That's a personal response. What's a creative response? Creative and critical, sometimes, they come together. But you see, creative is basically, they are too close. But there is a shade of a difference. Creative would mean actually to add on. Like, say, somebody has written, like, say, especially in those of you who know the concept of open resources, OER, open educational resources. There you see you have the capacity or you are allowed to add on to a particular research. Say, a particular research, suppose, on, the effect of probably color, right, on the eyes of probably pet animals. Probably this is a kind of a research. And you see somebody has researched and said that they are color blind. Maybe dogs are colorblind. You can always, again creatively look at that, and you can add on with your own research, add on a paragraph, add on to the hypothesis, add on to the claim. Similarly, in creative text and pleasure reading also, you can question, why did you see in Ulysses, Tennyson's Ulysses, the mariners, they were trying to go with the call of the Ulysses at night, okay, in the ship. Were they all drowned? What does Odyssey tell you? Okay? Or did they survive? What could have happened if they didn't survive? Okay? So all these make a creative response. Critical response is when you challenge the text, when you interpret the text, when you basically raise questions in the text. Sometimes you see also, you can say, deconstruct the text, as you see at the higher level, theorists like Derrida would say, deconstruct the text, find out new meanings of the text, right? So that can always happen. So conscientious readers, you see, they employ these kind of strategies. So basically, what are then, in simpler words, the comprehension strategies? Make connections. Whatever you read, make connections to your real life. Like say, you see, when you are probably reading, a newspaper report, say, about, the commuter's predicament, or probably say, I give you a topic like, say, post-pandemic online learning, okay? And there is an essay on post-pandemic online learnings, the merits and the demerits. Make connections with your own life as a participant, okay? Try to predict in the post-pandemic, what else can online learning give you, okay? What is the future of this online learning? And open learning, it has an immense future. So predict, question what are you losing out? Are you losing out your individuality? Monitor, that means self-monitoring is very important. If you don't understand a particular word, a particular concept, then kindly, please, look into the dictionary, look into seeking the opinion of an expert, look into the context, visualize, imagine. Like say, Mandrake, when we were young, we had a comics on Mandrake, and Mandrake used to ride on a horse. So when we used to read that comic, we used to visualize Mandrake riding on a horse, okay? And you see, that is visualizing. Make your reading alive and summarize. Finally, you see, come to a conclusion when you read. So make things come alive in front of you. That is actually engaging with the text. We also talk about, metacognitive. So when you become a very conscious reader, then basically you are employing your metacognitive abilities. What is metacognition? It can be defined as thinking about thinking. That means what you are reading, you are thinking about the process of reading. So how can you do that? Before reading, as I told you in the earlier video or the discussion, clarify the purpose of reading. Why am I reading this? Why are you doing this course? Do you want to become good readers, or do you want to become better teachers? Why are you doing this course? Okay, preview the text. Okay, the materials that come to you, read through them, look at them, gloss through them. You might probably see 3 different texts. One could match your purpose and need better than the other. During reading, self-monitor. As I was trying to tell you, look into meanings, look into context, look into conceptual clarity. If you find grammatically and syntactically you are stuck somewhere, find out what does the particular sentence mean. Phrases, adages, proverbs, find out how they fit into the context. Okay? Adjust your reading speed. Just like I would have to adjust when I'm talking to you. There should be a tempo of reading, tempo of talking too. That means if you are reading out probably to students in your class, then you have to adjust. You have to go slow with pauses. If you are reading with concentration, trying to look for information, read slow. If you are trying to just skim over, gloss over, okay, say you are trying to read the headlines while you are going out for your job, you can read faster. Fix comprehension problems. Understanding is very important. If you are stuck, if you don't understand concepts and meaning, fix it. After reading, check your understanding of the text read. It is similar to summarizing. That you need to understand what you have read. And if your summary should be checked, you see, with a summary of an expert. Okay. Now, if you are aspiring to be teachers, how do you do it for your students? You see, try to make them understand what is exactly the difficulty. Some of them, they go on reading, these students, young people, without realizing that there are difficulties. Why? Because probably they are not reading aloud. They are unable to pronounce particular words. Okay. So you see, these words get stuck in their throat. They won't even discuss with you. Okay. Identify areas of difficulty. If pronunciation is a difficulty, or if spelling is a difficulty, right? If you see grammar or making meaning of concepts is a difficulty, you will have to listen to them and identify that and make them understand that you have to yourself identify. They need to also paraphrase difficult ideas in the text, right? So paraphrasing is very important. It is very important to be individual, very important to be original as readers, as we were discussing. You see, if you don't breathe your own life into the text, then the text becomes, a frozen fossil. Okay, just like if you remember in the earlier AV, we had read a poem of Sarojini Naidu, where you see there, it was so original and such a very vibrant poem. Okay. If you don't paraphrase, is a poem which is basically very pictorial and very imagistic, okay, with very individual, well-chosen words of Naidu, okay, and, then if you don't paraphrase, it becomes Naidu's poem, not yours, right? So revise the text for better comprehension. Read and reread. Revision in case of reading and writing is extremely important, okay? Even for speaking is spontaneous, momentary, but still revision is always important. For speaking, there is always, a chance that we we may not be very careful. Words may slip, but not in case of, writing. And more so in reading, if you get wrong ideas in your mind, they get fossilized. Read pages ahead. Say, if suppose the text begins with people were crying in agony. Now you see, if you are a very, very curious reader, you will flip through the pages and try to find out ahead, why are the people crying in agony? Probably, this has been a particular accident, right? So if you are a curious reader and you want to relate the back and forth, then probably you can gloss over the pages, right? So these are some of the strategies. I referred over here to the Marcy scale. This is from Mukhtari and Richard, 2002, who talk about, the metacognitive awareness of reading strategies inventory, which is employed for measuring the reading habits of children and students. I was saying that, the Mukhtari and Richard, they had carried on the Marcy scale where they talked about the global reading strategies. The global reading strategies would mean an overall understanding of the text. Like say the global warming, perhaps, okay, which is, you understand the issues of global warming, that the earth is becoming warmer, so the ice caps are melting. So there's a water scarcity because of deforestation. This has become a crisis now in the world, and we are moving towards probably an apocalypse. Now, what would mean a problem-solving strategy, the next thing? That would mean, in this context, the global warming, it could also be that, there is this idea of ozone layer depletion. Now, if you're not a science student, then you might have certain problems in understanding this particular concept of ozone layer depletion. Now, you then have to take up, look up a dictionary or look up or talk to someone who knows this idea, a person who probably is from the domain of geography or the domain of, botany or zoology, or a medical practitioner. Ask them, what is ozone layer depletion? What is support reading strategies? Beyond that, after global and this immediate problem solving, support reading strategies would mean read up references book. Students too, they read up reference books, they read up supplementary materials. Okay. How do you, and quickly, this is the last part of it, how can you, as going to be teachers, those who want to, build reading skills at the school level, use various text types. use maps, use instruction manuals, okay? Use poetry, use prose, use mathematical tables, anything. Use newspaper clippings. Enhance vocabulary, mix, match, arrange words, okay? You can go into also, giving jumbled words, okay? So enhance vocabulary, okay? Making reading communicable and related to life. Give texts, talk about, summer vacation in rural India instead of talking about Robin Redbreast in England. That reading is not related to their life. Read and talk and make them read about their own selves. If it's urban, metropolis like Kolkata, say, or Delhi or Mumbai, wherever you are, okay, talk and make them read about those kind of scenarios. Enable reading in a group. That would mean you can actually arrange sessions where children, read one after the other loudly in a class. Why should you make them read loudly? To build their pronunciation, definitely. Okay. But not only for that, and not only to make them confident, they also, they feel cohesive, knit, they gain confidence. So reading in a group also makes them, responsible. So that's important. And arrange for continuous assessment. Give them small answers and questions, at the end of reading, so that you understand that they have followed the information. Give them one word, give them match the following, give them fill in the blanks, okay? Extract grammar from that, okay? So that you know that they are, looking forward to good reading and meaningful reading. Ultimately, Lu and Chan 2014, they recommend that you read across the curriculum, okay? You read to develop your critical thinking, you read across the curriculum, so that when you come out in real life, you make logical connections between ideas. Throughout, I have been referring to different texts from literature, from science, from other arts and fields. So you make logical connections. You can identify, construct and evaluate arguments. You have your own identity, your own meaning making. Detect inconsistency. That means if you understand wrong, you will be able to self-monitor. If you keep on reading different kinds of things in the curriculum, you can solve problems also systematically. That is the relevance of reading. Identify the importance of ideas, and ultimately you become a stronger individual with your own beliefs, because your knowledge is a wide base. Your knowledge can link from literature to science, from science to social sciences. So you become somebody who is more confident, more consistent, more organized, logical, okay, and with a questioning and a thinking mind, as Amartya Sen would say, an argumentative Indian in the positive sense of the term. Summing up, these are what we have done, okay, personal, creative or critical, okay. Reading comprehension would mean connections, predicting, questioning. Metacognitive strategies can be applied for meaning making, and developing good reading can actually include a variety of text, vocabulary and having continuous assessment. It's available for you there on the slide. Thank you so much.